Hey people, Dr. Kit the Bee Babette here with another episode of Ask Me Anything. And this week I have a question from my wonderful friend Jeremy Morrison from Bunbury. And he forwarded me a link that some of you might have seen of some recent research published by Flinders University and I believe WA Museum about a fossil of a giant sleepy lizard, bobtail, blue tongue. They have many names, shingleback skink, but these are amazing lizards in the genus Tiliqua, and I can totally vouch for them because I used to have a pet one called Babette. She was a WA blue tongue and I loved her. Anyway, back to the question. So this new species, it was from a fossil. It's called Tiliqua frangens, and it was 1,000 times bigger than your typical bobtail lizard that is around today. And so he wanted to know whether back during prehistoric times there were giant bees. So giant insects were definitely a thing. During the Carboniferous, this was about 300 million years ago, there were giant insects. There was a massive relative of a dragonfly called Meganeura, and it had a 0.6 meter wingspan, so basically two rulers, big wingspan, so very big. Now we need to figure out when bees evolved and how big they were. So bees evolved later. They evolved during the late Cretaceous, and this was a very important time for them to evolve because it was not long after angiosperms, the flowering plants, evolved. And the reason why earlier on there were giant insects during the Carboniferous was that oxygen levels in the air were much higher. They were about 31 to 35% oxygen, and today they're about 21%. And this is really important for the evolution of large insects. So insects don't have lungs. They breathe through spiracles, which are little holes throughout their body, very fine. Air goes in and it diffuses into their hemolymph and travels around their body. That way they don't have a circulatory system. So for gas exchange to work efficiently, they're quite limited by this. Check out one of my other episodes of Ask Me Anything where I answered a question about giant spiders by Paul from Rouge Circus. You can learn more about the physiology of size. Anyway, so bees evolved after the Carboniferous. Oxygen levels had declined by then, so they weren't able to evolve such big body sizes because they wouldn't be able to meet their metabolic demands and oxygen demands on the lower percentage of oxygen in the atmosphere. Also, they didn't need to be that big because the thing about bees, which evolved from wasps, is they are essentially vegetarian wasps and they evolved to forage on flowers. And the very first flowers were very small, and quite rare. So it wouldn't have been energetically favorable for them to evolve big body sizes because there weren't enough flower resources to meet their energy demands. So the first bees, how do we know what they look like? Well, they're invertebrates, so they can't fossilize like dinosaurs, non-avian dinosaurs anyway. They can't fossilize that way because no bones, but they can fossilize another way. And this is when a little bee, millions of years ago, back during the time of the non-avian dinosaurs, was sitting on a tree and it got trapped in sap or resin. When that fossilizes, that creates the precious stone amber, and fossilizes the bee, preserves it perfectly in there. So from Baltic amber, there's many amazing, incredible insect fossils in there. So that's how we know when the first bees evolved and how big they were. And yeah, they were pretty small. They were similar size to our Melapanini, the tetragranula, so small, smaller than honeybees, much smaller than honeybees. So yeah, first little bees were little, and they never reached massive sizes. The biggest bee today is Megachili Pluto. That one is very, very cool, also very rare. It was thought to be extinct, rediscovered a few years ago, but still quite endangered, especially because big bees, some were even found on the black market. So yeah, let's not collect and trade endangered bees on the black market either. So hope that answered your very interesting question, Jeremy. If anyone else has a question about bees or really anything, just ask me anything, send me a DM on my Instagram at Bee Babette Bee Babette _performer. I'll say that again. Bee Babette _performer, BEE.BABETTE _performer. And I will get to you with your questions. You can also subscribe on my YouTube, the Bee Babette, so that you don't miss any other bee science stuff. And till next time.